kakhulu ukuthi baphumile abantwana in the schools, and therefore siyacela ba kukhona inhlangano ekhona la Deputy President ikhona lapha ya eParliament ithi mabangatofu abantwana ihambile ke ya court izolo leyo nhlangano iyozama lathi judge ayingxamisekanga lento ibekana ecaleni sobuye sibone ngenye imini abaqhubeka abantwana batof. So ke bantwana bethu lento siletha kuni ibaleke kakhulu. I-fourth wave ke sesiyilungiselele Deputy President in the event ifika kuzo zonke izibhedlela zethu siyathenga i-machines siyathenga oxygen siyalungisa nebed konke lokho siyakulungisa ke. Lastly niyamazi udokotela uPhahla is our Minister of Health. Gqeberha before abe a politician. But because we are aware that some of us are sathembakalile ukuthi sengaba ogqirha nyan, this morning we invite a specialist. If you notice the program where the specialist this morning Dr. Mloyi. Dr. Mloyi uthi ukhuluma nge-relationship ekhona between i-COVID ne-infertility nongakwazi ukufumana abantwana. Kulento ekhona ku-social media. Ayikho ke leyonto. Into ede ibe khona ukuthi uma ungatofanga intsholongwane le ye-COVID ihlala lapha ya kule yanto yakho wena mntwana omncane amatapile akho lawa yana bese yenza umonakalo uyaqamba usufuna ukuthola abantwana abasafumaneki. Ngoku ke akuyona information leyo ephuma ku Dr. Phahla njengo minister. Sifumane this morning kuma specialist in the country. Hamba ke uyo vaccinate ngoba uavoid ukuthi amatapili wakho lawa abe right. Aya siyithethe nje njalo icaca ngoba kungcoba lento ngabe itolikwa ngumuntu itolikwa umuntu obhinqileyo ngoku andimazi uyayazi lento ukuthi ke amatapili ngithetha ngantoni na. Kodwa ke sithi uma ubalekela i-vaccine ngoba uthi wena ufuna ukuba nabantwana kwathini i-opposite is true. Uma ungahambi uyotofa intsholongwane ihlala kuwo wonke umzimba wakho nalapha kumatapili akho. And ke abanye bethu njoba kade sesitofile bantwana bethu noma sesitofile umdlalo uba muhle ekamelweni siqhubeke ke siyabulela.
Uthethile uDr. Dlomo vumani bo sive ngogqirha esithi bathethile ogqirha kugqirha umphathiswa wethu ngugqirha no deputy minister wethu ngugqirha. So lento ayithethayo ke iyona inyani kunalesimana sive emacaleni. So it's the opposite. Thank you so much Deputy Minister. Khange ndinive niphendula kakhulu ngehlwahlwa le excitement xa ndibuza bani ready na for uDeputy President. Yo, ni ready for a Deputy President? Okay. Ni ready for a blacksmith, Lady Smith Black Mambazo? Lady Smith Black Mambazo. Ni ready for a Lady Smith Black Mambazo? Cela ke siqhobele izandla izawuphakamisa uminister wethu asazisele uDeputy President. Izandla shushu. Lady Smith Black Mambazo, the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Yebo. Und Good.
Hayi azisho sengiready. Yashisa.
Sure. Fellow South Africans, let's vaccinate. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. If you are safe, let's vaccinate. I am safe. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. It's not about you. Let's vaccinate. It's not about me. Stay alive. It's about all of us. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. Fellow South Africans, don't be afraid of the vaccination. Let's vaccinate. It will save our lives. Asikomeni. 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 This is South Africa. Asikomeni. Singabinavalo. Asikomeni. This is South Africa. Let's vaccinate. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. It's not about you. Let's vaccinate. It's not about me. Stay alive. It's about all of us. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. If you are safe, let's vaccinate. I am safe. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. Fellow South Africans, don't be afraid of the vaccination. Let's vaccinate. It will save our lives. Fellow South Africans, don't be afraid of the vaccination. It will save our lives. Let's vaccinate. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. It's not about you. Let's vaccinate. It's not about me. Stay alive. It's about all of us. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. If you are safe, let's vaccinate. I am safe. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Save South Africa. If you are safe, let's vaccinate. I am safe. Stay alive. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. Fellow South Africans, don't be afraid of the vaccination. It will save our lives. Asikomeni. 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 This is South Africa. Asikomeni. This is South Africa. Let's vaccinate. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Stay alive. Let's vaccinate. Let's vaccinate. Vaccinate. Save South Africa. It's not about you. Let's vaccinate. It's not about me. Stay alive. It's about all of us. Let's vaccinate. Save South Africa.
Thank you. Let's go, man. Thank you.
Yeah, you. Thank you so much. Molweni eMpuma Kapa. Molweni bantu baseMpuma Kapa. Molweni eGqeberha. Nisaphila. Sisaphila nathi. Simzwile umphathiswa wezempilo ukuthi uthini. Uthethile nathi. Xhosa ke asitolikwa. Our program director MEC Math onathi apha namhlanje, Deputy President His Excellency David Mabuza, uPremier wethu, uPremier uDie, inkokheli zethu ze sport, inkokheli zakalizwi, inkokheli zamaciko ama-creatives, and all protocol observed. We are here eMpuma Koloni, kule ndawo yaseGqeberha. Sifike kusasa apha. Safikela Chief David Stearman Airport, beautiful airport, eGqeberha. Sifika kweliphondo, iphondo lesithandathu sifika kulo. Sihamba all over the country, sambisa i-message yokuthi spendula umbuzo obuziwe ama-fans ethu esivumelana nawo ukuthi akho sporting activity without ama-fans ebamnandi. So siyawafuna back. Akho festival, yabona nje ngoku siya kuDecember. So ibuyele ekhaya. Ithatha wonke umuntu apha eMpuma Koloni eze kuyibuyele ekhaya, sikhumbule. Sifuna ukubuyela kuyona. Masiphendula ke kuma fans wethu, ma spectators, ukuthi u-2000 inamba encinci, ewe siyazi, kodwa futhi bekuyinamba ebesithesta ngayo ukuthi sizokwazi yini ukuthi xa sekufika abantu abaninzi estadiums bakwazi ukuthi bakhuseleke, bakhusele nabanye abanabo. Ngakho ke if sifuna ukuyinyusa elinani lika 2000, masinyuse ijab, awabe maninzi ama-jabs, izolunga ke lento. It is in your hands. Take a jab and jive. Izokwenzeka kanjalo ke lento. Sithi ke bonke abantu abeva izinto ezithethwayo apha esithubeni. Bona ke wena kunogqirha bangebona ogqirha pha kwi-social media. Abathetha yonke into abayithethayo. Ayikho yonke amampunge abawathethayo. Uthethile ugqirha wethu apha, uDeputy Minister. Uyayazi lento. No Minister. Asilandele bona ke. Sithe si busy nale campaign, sihamba sisuka kwi-province njengesebe le sport arts and culture. Sathola uxhaso kumongameli welizwe ukuthi asenze le campaign, sifake isantya ngevuma vaccination weekend. So le weekend le i-weekend yevuma vaccination. SiseMpuma Koloni, vumani bo. Vumani bo. Sithi ke sifuna ukubona bafana sifuna ukuya kuyibuyela ekhaya asivaccinate sixelele wonke umuntu ukuthi avaccinate. Usekela mongameli ke wezwe utata uDavid Dabede Mabuza uye ke ozothetha nathi namhlanje. Uyu umshengu sondela mshengu. Uyu umshengu ozothetha nathi namhlanje. Makhe simlalele.
Thank you, Program Director, the Premier of the Province of the Eastern Cape, Premier Oscar Mabuyane, Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Mtetwa, Deputy Minister of Health, Dr. Sibongiseni Dlomo, angazi kahle ukuthi usese udokotela noma uyipolitician. Angazi ukuthi ngithembe ikuphi kokubili nje. All the members of the Executive Council of the province who are here, our Vax ambassadors, thank you very much for your vigor and your effort in trying to push this campaign. Siyabonga, Kosadam, amazwi azwakala. Ladies and gentlemen, molweni, ninjani, nami ngiyaphila. We meet on this day in the province of the Eastern Cape, the province of the legends. These legends, you can find them in art, you can find them in literature, you can find them in sports, in drama, and you'll find these legends in the struggle for freedom and democracy. Therefore, it is no coincidence that immediately after the historic local government elections held last week, our campaign to mobilize society to vaccinate in order to return to play is held in this province that has in many ways led the way and contributed to human progress. The recently held elections were significant in many ways and were held under extraordinary circumstances that were dictated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our struggle for freedom and democracy was, in essence, about self-determination and about human dignity. Equally, it was about securing and protecting the treasured right to vote for a government of our choice, to realize our dreams and aspirations for development. We want to thank the people of the country for their continued commitment and confidence in the virtue of our democratic project. We are encouraged that South Africa remains firmly committed to building their country and live in freedom. Even under such difficult conditions visited upon us by the COVID-19 pandemic, the masses of our land still believe in the goodness of democracy as a means towards our collective pursuit of development. The people have in their numbers expressed their will and gave support to their political parties and independent candidates as the legitimate representatives of their dreams and their aspirations. That in the middle of this pandemic, the people of our country, young and old, went out to participate in a democratic process of elections through all the public meetings that were held and mini rallies in their respective wards is an expression of a people so determined to pursue a course of development. It is this determination and the spirit of triumph that we too gather here today to energize one another and all those that are in our communities who are very unsure and maybe even skeptical of the correctness of vaccinating against coronavirus, because this is the right thing to do. These vaccines are a credible solution, credible weapon in our hands, based on science, to ensure that we are protected and are adequately armed to face the changing coronavirus variant strains. These vaccines, they are safe and are a very effective intervention to lower the chances of serious illness, hospitalization, and death. By vaccinating, we can return our lives to normality and reclaim our basic freedoms. Let us not disempower ourselves. The devastating impact of COVID-19 extends to all sporting codes and affects all sportsmen and women alike, artists, our creative sector, and those involved in the secondary aspects of the industry like events coordinators, promoters, and sponsors. Athletes, sportsmen, and women have had to compete in empty stadiums, and all those who make a living by selling outside stadium and sporting venues have had their income and means of livelihood negatively affected. Let us not forget that other countries have vaccinated enough people and reached the acceptable thresholds for herd immunity, have since relaxed some of the restrictions that curtail certain freedoms. They are now on the move to rebuild their economies. We too can vaccinate in our numbers and allow for economic reconstruction and recovery to take foot in order to reverse the current situation of high unemployment. We have to do this. For losing our loved ones is not an option. Losing jobs because companies are closing down due to the pandemic, the coronavirus restrictions, it's very devastating. It is within our power to ensure that we fully open the economy so that we can save our livelihoods. We have to do this, for we want to return to play. If anything, these elections have proven to us that we can rise to the challenge and chart a different future for our country. Even in the face of repeated resurgence and frequent mutations of the virus, as this nation, we can end its devastation in our country. Over 2.9 million cumulative cases of infections we have registered thus far as a country. This number should not grow further to the next million mark. Equally, the number of fatalities does not need to rise further and can be contained through vaccination. Losing over 89,000 fellow compatriots to COVID-19, it's painful to bear and it's hard to live with. It is in our hands to be legends in our own right by charting a different path for the well-being of our nation. The fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, it's an all-out war that calls for adherence to all dictates of science. It is a fact that every pandemic of a similar nature that threatened human existence was defeated through vaccines. Similarly, COVID-19 vaccines offer us an opportunity to reclaim our freedoms as it was before the pandemic. Together with vaccine ambassadors, artists, celebrities, and sporting legends, we stand behind the Return to Play, It Is in Your Hands campaign by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture under the Minister Natim Tet. We do so because we are convinced that the life of normality is possible. We can return back to normality if and only if we can vaccinate. Taking COVID-19 vaccines, it's our ticket to live concerts, festivals, and performances in our theaters. All of us must work in partnership across all sectors and win this battle. We call on all our traditional leaders. We call on all our religious leaders. I'm happy in the province that traditional leaders and religious leaders are working hand in glove with government to defeat this pandemic. Let's join hands and take this campaign forward with vigor and the necessary pace, speed that is required. Just as we have done in the last 2 weeks, waiting in queues at many of our voting stations across the length and breadth of our country to go and vote. This too is the time to make a choice and play our part of saving lives and livelihoods and save our country. We have, since the start of the national vaccination program, which is now 179 days, administered more than 23 million vaccines to more than 15.6 million people. We do know that 2.4 million of these doses were administered in this province, the province of the legends. If we are to consider modeling and projections used towards the attainment of population immunity by the end of December 2021, the Eastern Cape needs to push hard, very hard, so that all of us as a country, we can reach the required number. But I must hasten to say, Program Director, we commend the hard work by the government of the Eastern Cape, the Premier and your collective. Thank you very much. But you must return back to your first spot. You have lost number 1, you are now number 4. I don't know how, but you must try again and reclaim your spot. You're doing very well under difficult circumstances as a province. When this pandemic started, it affected this province very, very dearly. We lost a lot of people in this province, but the province regained its strength and took the fight back to the virus. We are happy about the progress that we've made. We are left with very little time till December the 31st. I'm not very sure, Premier, whether we are going to reach our target. The 70% that we are yearning for, it looks far-fetched. I'm sure that we are going to revise our target, but let's try. It is quite clear that we're left with few weeks, and we are almost somewhere above 40%. And 70%, it's a very tall order to reach. So it is very important for all of us to stand up and go and vaccinate. Go to the nearest vaccination site and vaccinate. Protect your friends, protect your families, and the prosperity of our country. Reaching population immunity should be our biggest motivation to ensure we save our lives and we avoid the possible fourth wave that may be deadly for all those people who are unvaccinated. We must say we have got enough supply of vaccines, doses. There is no reason to stay away as vaccination days have been extended to ensure that all of us have access. For us to win this battle against COVID-19, we must not entertain and embrace fake news. Singalaleli indaba ezingamanga. A department under the Minister of Health and the Deputy Minister, they are always communicating messages, scientific messages that are proven that these vaccines will help us. Instead, we should put our health and other people's life first. The primary objective of this vaccination program is to protect lives, not to harm people. We know very well that the right to life must be protected as it is enshrined in our Constitution. It is this very government that must protect life. It is not this government that can harm its citizens. Under the leadership of the President, we call on all leaders to increase their efforts at district and local levels across our country to rally all of society to vaccinate in what is called the Vuma Vaccine Weekends. Like I've said, for the Eastern Cape province, it says we must increase pace, especially here in Nelson Mandela and the OR Tambo municipalities. We must take vaccines to our people. We must go door to door, come close to where they live. The creative economy is greatly constrained. Sport is still operating under tough environment. Having to play in empty stadium due to COVID-19 restriction is not a good thing. We can change this situation. I agree with Minister that yes, the 2,000 people that are now allowed in our stadium, it's a small number. Ngiyavuma ukuthi incane le number. Kodwa ngiyavumelana futhi noMinister ukuthi ukuze sikhuphule le number kuzawufanele sikhuphule ijab. Manje ke yilo ithuba lethu leli lokuthi sihambe siyo vaccinate. Stadium lezi zithethe imali eningi. This infrastructure is very costly to stay a white elephant. Hlezi nje akunamuntu. Isidurele lento le kuyakha lento le. Abanikazi bakhona kodwa bakwazi ukuza la. It's very important to all sports-loving people to take this call very serious. Let's vaccinate so that we can come back to this stadium. Once the population or herd immunity is achieved, it is possible that we can fully open the economy and ensure that people's livelihoods are secured. Everything rests with us. It is in our hands to ensure that we go back to normality. Siyabonga, sibonga kakhulu. Thank you very much.
Ngicela ezinye izandla ezishushu siphakame sime ngenyawo sinike imbeko ku Deputy President. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Deputy President, Your Excellency, sivile, siyabulela, siyavuma, siyakwenza njalo. Thank you so much. You've been a great audience. Mphoxwe nje zi-caterers. Ngomzuzu wokugqibela. Singaphinde siyenze lento kweminye imicimbi xa kuthetha isithethi sosuku sidlulisa ukudla. Sesawugqiba siyabulela kakhulu. Kufikelele emaphethelweni ke ngoku. Kodwa ndine-announcements ezimbalwa endizawuzenza. Before ndicele ikusasa lize ngaphambili to perform ivuma vaccination drive dance. You see, we are saying vex and jive. So vaccination is cool. It's the coolest thing to do and the safest thing to do. So as we invite to the stage the ikusasa, I want to ask the audience here that will be going now for our lunch after our leadership has gone to the tent on my right, because the president uze apha ukuthetha nathi abe sesibona uba lento ebeyithetha siyayenza na. So siyabulela kwi-athletes zethu ezizawuvaccinate namhlanje publicly kule tent eyi-red. Apho khona the Deputy President, the Premier, the Minister, the Deputy Minister, our traditional leader, our religious leader will be observing them getting the jab. It's 6 of them, Mlamli Ndlondlo, who is our athlete, judo, Nikki Tembani, Leonard Mgoqi, Sharon van Staden, Mbasa Qilingele, and Ryan Jordan. So sabeke sijonga sibabona phaya besenza i-vaccination publicly. Siyabulela kakhulu, sicela kuze ngaphambili elo qela bendilibizile phambi ngoba sifumane i-vote of thanks. Then ke sawucela i-leaders zethu ziye kula tent to observe the vaccination. That will be done. Enkosi kakhulu. Over to you, ikusasa.
now when it comes to sport, you're talking about that 2000. What criteria were you using when you were campaigning during the local government elections compared to now that you're saying only stadium must be, only 2,000 people are allowed inside the stadium?
Well, we tried to stick to the 2000, and it was a situation that was almost outside our control. People rush. If they see the president, they rush, they come and ask him questions. I mean, the president could not turn them away. It's not that it was deliberate. It automatically happened as we're campaigning, that people come and see the president, they want to talk to the president because they've got problems. Given the situation currently, we can see the numbers are down and we continue to go down. Probably we might consider further relaxation, but we worried about the fourth wave. So waiting to see the numbers. If they start increasing, that means we need to try and increase our restrictions so that we save people. But the only permanent way of saving our people is through these vaccines. So if we can do more in terms of vaccination, we think we can pull through.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any more questions? Yes.
Next matter, different from our city press. You say the numbers are going down. Per day you were doing 300,000. What is the reason now you're going down?
Well, mainly because of the fake news, which are continuing to spread. People are saying lots of things about these vaccines. They are not good. If you take them, they will die. That's why we're saying to our people, no, don't listen to fake news. Listen to science. Doctors are advising us all the time, and we've got good evidence of what they're saying. People are saved. And we think this is the only way to save our people and to save the country through vaccines. There's no other way available. This is the only tool at our disposal that we can completely rely on.
Thank you for this.
Yes,
Okay, last question.
Yolanda Palezini from the Herald newspaper.
Yes.
Deputy President, I am totally covered with today's program. Perhaps can I maybe ask a question or two outside the program of the day? It's regarding the coalition in the Bay. Please,
About the vaccination program.
but can I just two, please? What's the hold up? We've been receiving reports that there are coalition talks between the ANC, EFF, DOP, and the Northern Alliance, and that they'll be signing a partnership agreement over the course of the weekend. Is that true? And the second question is that we've been informed that the EFF says it wanted Swane, Action SA wanted Johannesburg, and the ANC gets the rest. Is Bay part of that deal? Maybe?
No, don't preempt the talks. People are talking, and these talks are still private talks. Let's allow them to discuss. On the side of the ANC, I'm not the one who's leading the talks. We've assigned the office of the DSG and the office of the TG to lead the discussion. As we're talking now, they are busy negotiating. So finally we'll get the outcomes of what is possible, of what is not possible. And we'll have to accept it that way.
Okay, thank you, members of the media. Yes, the rain is upon us.
Gqeberha, you tried your luck.